Hello, everybody. It is me, Marina Martinez-Bateman. I am the CEO of New Coyote Consulting. We are an equity and communications consulting firm here in the Pacific Northwest. The lighting is just super weird right now because the sun is setting over there. I have my lights to try and sort of like balance that out, but who knows. Last time I recorded a video, I was in my co-working space. Now I'm back in my office at home. I still have the co-working space. I'm also working to get another more permanent space together, probably in October. So stay tuned there. I am not going to just completely permanently move out of the shed because I do need a place to work when I'm at home, but I have been going out into the world more, and that has actually been having a really positive impact on my mental health, which is also having a positive impact on my physical health because I don't feel so exhausted anymore. I have talked about this before, but I am such an extroverted person, that I have always just gravitated towards crowds and large noisy offices and large noisy coffee shops, and just I love being in the world. You know, before a pandemic, one of my favorite things to do was to go to like a crowded shopping area and just wander with everyone, you know, wander through the area and see all the people and like be a part of that. And I haven't done that much during COVID. I haven't felt safe doing it. Also, there's just not a lot of people out, or there hadn't been until recently. And it is very frustrating that right as I was like, hey, I'm going to start to open my life up and go back into the world, there does seem to be another COVID spike. I am continuing to be more in the world than I was before. There are some things I'm rolling back, like I'm going back to being really strict about masking around people I don't hang out with that often. I'm also going to be really strict about masking indoors, especially. Like, I'm still doing everything outdoors, everything social outdoors. And then if I'm indoors, like at my co-working space, I'm not socializing. I'm mostly just with my mask and my computer. So I feel upset about COVID spiking again, and I feel like COVID is just going on the sort of like moral trash heap of our culture. You know, I mean, we have a bunch of people with a bunch of money and a bunch of power who are making it impossible to solve certain problems because those problems continuing to exist make them money, and solving those problems would cost them money. So now COVID just goes on the list with like climate change and gun violence and hunger and all of these like homelessness, all of these completely preventable tragedies that kill people regularly, that we just don't work on and that we don't solve because solving them would not be in the best interests of the billionaires who, for us, were one of their most lucrative crops. And whether we die or we don't die, we still make them money. And I'm really feeling very nihilistic about that and very pessimistic and upset about it. And I also am looking at this, like I always do, as like, what about this larger structure, this larger cultural structure that is funded by a lot of money and backed by a lot of power? Like, what about that can I safely resist? And that's what I'm trying to do. So I already talked about my masking strategy. I already talked about, you know, I'm going to be continuing to get the booster. I really want to get the new one when it comes out later this month. And I'm going to be continuing to try and grow the prosperity of regular fucking people in this fucking economy, because I don't see a way forward for leftism, for socialism, that doesn't start and end with prosperity for working people, because that is where we can then make our choices that will have a very large impact on the people who are doing all of this shit, on the people who are continuing to make homelessness a problem when it's easily solvable, continuing to make gun violence a problem when it's solvable, continuing to keep hunger and COVID as like ongoing issues. Like, whatever way forward the left has, it has to rely on prosperity for regular people. And that's going to be my primary focus. It's been my primary focus. I'm happy to say that in general, we're doing better all the time at that, at creating that. And that's just it, you know? I feel a little bit sad that, like, my great news about going back into the world is like, and also here we are with this mass disabling event that is continuing to be completely ignored and even encouraged by the people for whom us becoming disabled, us dying, us being sick is a profit event. And that makes me fucking sick, and it makes me sad, and it makes me mad. And I recognize that we've already done that with a bunch of other really horrific shit that we just let happen. We don't let it happen. That is happening despite our vocal constant protests. So, have a lunch, have a walk, have a weekend, don't work for free. I will see you next week.